enforcement for this Northern District, Agent Noss, several staff, including Gainesville Police Department, federal partners at ATF that are here. So what I'd like to do is go through a short briefing to recap the sequence of events that happened here this morning, and then I will field some questions and we'll kind of take it from there. Is that fair? Again, this morning at around 7:56 in the morning, as you may have already heard, we received a call, a 911 call of a shot fired. Immediately thereafter, our officers were on scene within the minute, only to discover that a suspect that had been identified in a red vehicle that is still on scene was now trying to leave the area after having been identified as a suspect involved. The officers in marked police cars got behind this vehicle, and immediately the subject stopped his vehicle and absolutely assaulted our officers and met them with gunfire in an ambush-style attack. Our officers, by the grace of God, were able to engage the suspect in a violent exchange of gunfire, resulting in the death of the assailant, who passed on scene. Of course, as you can imagine, it was a chaotic scene in the middle of morning rush hour traffic, which brings into light some great concerns that we had upon arriving here, because we had our motoring public, our businesses that are trying to make a living, all having to deal with this as it's unfolding, again, in a very violent manner. Immediately thereafter, once we were able to secure our 2 police officers that were wounded in the exchange and get them treated and taken to the hospital, we of course began a search of the area. Information that we had received took us to a nearby business, a lumber yard, where the initial suspect was seen entering. We sadly discovered a subject inside of the business that was also deceased, suffered a gunshot wound as well. So we now believe confidently that it is the same suspect that entered the business after having parked not far from here at 1300 East University Avenue behind the KFC, walked over to the lumberyard, engaged the victim therein, walked back to his car, and as he attempted to flee, was met by our officers, and the rest as I've told you. So any questions on
Chief,
that?
I have a question doing right now, and what can you tell us about their recovery?
Well, I will tell you that any time that our staff, our police officers, are injured, it's always difficult for me. But in this case, the officers, when I arrived on scene, very shortly thereafter, I could see that they were both wounded. One in the lower extremity, one in the upper extremity. Both were ambulatory, transported to Shands Hospital, where they are receiving treatment and they are expected to recover fully. I've since met with them and their families to express my gratitude. And their actions today, which resulted not only in essence neutralizing somebody who was out to commit murder, but also ensuring that the rest of our public was safe. And I do want to thank our public. I understand this was very, very chaotic, and people going to school and work, and we've interrupted all of it, so I apologize for that. But I'm also grateful that people have showed the patience as we deal with this extremely large and complex scene. There are many people that have come to our aid today. I certainly want to thank the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. This is now a dual investigation. We have a homicide scene that will be run by the Gainesville Police Department, and we have an officer-involved shooting that will be managed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Our local partners at the Alachua County Sheriff's Office were also immediately on scene, rendering whatever help they can do for us. They've been extremely helpful in handling other calls for service because our community keeps on going. We have our federal partners. I've spoken to the FBI. ATF is on scene. So many that have come to our aid because they realize that in this community, as we continue to battle all that is gun-related violence, when it happens so boldly and it involves our people, it's a different level, right? And so I'm just so proud of our officers today, of our employees. There are so many behind the scenes that are supporting what you see here today that I'm also grateful for. Our legislative body that's with me today, our city management, everybody in this community comes together, and this certainly showcases that. Sadly, we have a homicide victim, and we have an assailant who was neutralized by our officers today. So the message that I continue and that we continue to say in this community is we continue to battle gun-related violence by any means necessary. And again, this should showcase that this community and this department is not only trained but ready for anybody who wants to challenge that sanctity.
Chief, you mentioned that the suspect was gunned down in the car. Do you know his identity yet? Have you been able to identify him, and do you have a record on him at all?
So I hope you can appreciate that. Yes, we have identified all that are involved, but at this point, because it's so fluid, we still have notifications to be made. We're still doing all of our historical research to answer exactly that question. So whenever we're ready, we will give that to you all. I just can't do that currently. I hope you can appreciate that.
Chief,
Yes,
do you know what was the motive in the lumberjack?
We do not at this point have a clear picture of what that looks like. We do know that there was clear intent.
Do you know how he got the gun?
We have not gotten into that. As I stated before, we have many partners here who will help us answer those questions in time.
How long do you expect to have this road blocked off and this scene continue to be active?
Not sure. The scene is massive. Several rounds were fired. We have to try our best to account for every round because that's part of our reconstruction of a scene of this nature and the complexity of multiple agencies working in.
Do you guys have flock cameras or any street cameras that could have maybe helped you guys during this? Is that what you guys
We have technology all over this area that have captured what happened here today.
Any sense that the assailant knew the victim?
We don't know that for sure, but I can tell you that based on what we know, the assailant acted today with clear intent. Any other questions?
Chief, do you know how many rounds were fired?
I do not have that answer. I can safely say a multitude of rounds.
Chief, obviously Gainesville's had a gun violence problem in the last couple of years. Do you feel like, what are you guys currently doing?
Well, I want to be clear, right? Because the fact is that over the last 2 years, our gun violence related issues have drastically dropped. So in 2024, we experienced a total crime decrease from the year before of 11%. This year alone, this past year, 2025, another 16% decrease from the previous year. So the facts is that our gun violence dropped drastically. This is an anomaly. This is something that can't be tolerated in our community. And we will continue to battle it as we have for the last 2 years, with many leaders and many stakeholders doing their part in keeping our gun violence well under control.
We were able to talk to an eyewitness earlier about what they saw and heard. They mentioned that they don't normally experience this sorts of stuff this part of Gainesville. To people that live in the area, do you have any message to them, any reassurance?
That's a great question, and thank you. So the message is this: we're safe. What happened today, horrible as it may be, we've accounted for everybody and everyone that is involved, everybody that had clear intent to commit violence. We've accounted for that, sadly with results that are not pleasant for us or anybody, but the community is not in danger at this point of anything related to this incident. So my message to our community here in Gainesville is to continue to do exactly what you're doing. Go about your lives, work, go to school, enjoy your life, because we have your back, and we appreciate their continued support of our organization.
How do you feel?
Excuse me.
How do you feel?
I feel a multitude of emotion. Obviously, I'm extremely disturbed when, as I stated earlier, when our people are injured. So I'm sad. I'm also very grateful that their injuries they will recover from fully. So I'm thankful to God that it could have been way worse. I assure you, I have reviewed some video, and I assure you that this assailant had clear intent, and we were not only lucky but trained, in that our response to that was met with success.
Do you know how long it's been since officers have been shot, since the multiple officers have been shot in Gainesville PD?
I do not know that. We can get that answer. Hopefully the answer is 0, but I don't have that answer.
I just want a quick clarification on what happened. So it was the first people that responded were the 2 officers that were shot, one in the extremity upper and one lower, and the third one was the one that shot and killed the shooter? Or?
Again, there was a multitude of rounds exchanged by several officers. Certainly the 2 that were injured, the 3rd officer arrived on scene. So at this point, it's difficult for us to say what round led to what, but we do know that there was a hellacious gun battle that resulted in what I've briefed you on.
Did all 3 arrive at the same time, or was it sparsed out?
Seemingly, they arrived immediately after the 911 call was placed.
Okay.
So they appeared to have been in the area very closely, and they were here within seconds.
And the 2 that were shot, were they partners?
Yes, they belong to the same shift.
Okay. And then the 3rd one was in a different car, I imagine?
All 3 were in different cars, all part of the same squad.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, short of any other standing questions. Sir?
Your name?
Last name is Moya, M as in Mary, O-Y-A. First name Nelson, Police Chief of the City of Gainesville. What I'd like to do, if you will allow it, please, I'd like to turn it over to our city manager and to a couple of our legislators, because I think their words are important not only to our citizens but to our officers as well. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Moya. This is all that, as a city manager, you ever want to have to take. But I'm incredibly thankful for the bravery of the officers who responded, the speed at which they responded, our partners who, as Chief mentioned, are supporting the investigation. And I'm glad that this is not something that is, we're talking about a different scenario with officers more seriously hurt, and I'm glad that the overall incident is contained, as Chief indicated. But I'm so proud of the officers that responded. I'm proud of the men and women that are work for our law enforcement agencies here in town, and I am very looking forward to the ongoing investigation here as we go forward. And with that, I'll turn it over to the mayor.
Hello everyone, my name is Harvey Ward. I'm the mayor of Gainesville. I first of all want to express my condolences not only to the folks who have experienced loss of life, the families of those folks, and to those injured, but also to the surrounding neighborhoods. This is traumatic, no question. I grew up just a few blocks from here, and it's not the sort of thing that happens in the middle of University Avenue. It's just not. To a question earlier, we had in 2023, there were 16 people murdered in Gainesville. Last year, 24, there were 8. 25, there were 3 in a city of 150,000 people. And this is certainly not the way we want to start the year off, but as the chief mentioned, this is an anomaly, and the most important thing I can tell you to folks who are in the surrounding neighborhoods, you are safe. This is not an ongoing situation. This was an anomaly. It is traumatic, certainly, to everyone who's experienced it, and certainly to everyone within Gainesville Police Department and the entire city organization. I do want to report to you that I spent some time this morning at Shands with the 2 officers who were injured. They're in good spirits, and I expressed my appreciation for their excellent work, and talked with their families, and with them, they're both wide awake and again in very good spirits. And I want to appreciate everyone who so quickly got on scene here. Not only GPD, but Gainesville Fire Rescue, Alachua Sheriff's Office, Alachua County Fire Rescue. The ability of this community to show up with such professionalism quickly following such a traumatic event is something that warms my heart as a member of this community. And I want you all to hear that very clearly, that the response to this was immediate, and that folks in the neighborhood are safe, the officers are in good spirits and recovering well. And I'm proud of the work that everyone involved has been able to do. I'm devastated that they needed to do any of that in the first place, but I want to reassure everyone that okay. Certainly we will all be thinking and praying on this and doing everything that we can to act as well and make sure that we do not do everything we can to make sure we don't experience this again. So, let me introduce my colleague, Commissioner Desmond Duncan Walker, the Commissioner for District 1.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. To everyone who has responded on today, I want the individuals in District 1 to hear a very clear message that not only states that you are safe, but that the Gainesville City Commission will continue to bring resources to bear to ensure that safety as we move forward. I have fielded a number of phone calls from constituents, friends, and family members who are concerned, as they should be. But just know that as we continue to move forward, as we continue in the spirit of recognizing that gun violence is a public health issue, that those resources will continue to be brought to bear. It's my understanding that we have trauma response teams that are on the ground, and that is something that is significant. There are a lot of people who are shaken, a lot of people who have a lot of questions. There are businesses who have some shell casings around, some bullets that are lodged inside, and that, needless to say, brings forward the idea that we need to throw our arms around each other and we need to respond. Help is on the way. This is an isolated case. District 1 will continue to grow stronger, and I have full confidence that we are going to continue to address gun violence in meaningful, effective, impactful ways, and that this will just continue to be one of those things that will not become the norm. The City of Gainesville will continue to respond in very strategic and meaningful ways, and this is just going to be it. So I thank everybody for their response today. I just want you to be comforted and know that the city is 100% on top of things. I also would be remiss if I did not acknowledge everyone who lost someone today. Whether you are a relative or friend of the assailant, whether you are a relative or friend of the individual who lost his life at the business, I am personally standing in prayer with you and want nothing but the best. Will sincerely keep you in my thoughts and my prayers. Thank you.
Thank you. I will mention a key partner of ours, and that is our neighbors at the University of Florida Police Department. They were also on scene within minutes, rendering whatever help and resources they could bear to the table. So I want to thank Chief Knowles and his staff as well. That brings to conclusion this press conference. Again, I want to thank you all for your patience and your diligence this morning. I appreciate you.